There are several friends of mine who talk about, hopefully, our days at Becketwood in the coming years. Honestly, we have this little club and our children say, oh, you just want to go to Becketwood. That's what you want. So it's wonderful to be here. The place looks great, and please keep it nice for us until we get
One of the great joys for me has been that I've been able to invite Sally Winger to Becketwood to come and speak. She has quite a following here of people who see her in the theater, and I was really pleased that I could bring her to Becketwood. A teacher friend of mine had retired and moved to Becketwood. She invited us to dinner. We were very impressed and decided probably this would be a good place for us.
April 15th of 1986 we moved in.
Yeah.
So it'll be 25 years in
25
April.
years in April. My dad he was good.
Oh, awesome.
But in those days, women did not play pool.
Dad wouldn't let her anywhere near
Our
that.
granddaughters all shoot pool.
Yeah,
They're
our
good.
grandchildren all shoot pool,
Yeah.
so they don't
No.
mind coming over.
We were working when we first moved in here. They had, some fellows were playing ping pong, and I thought, well, I like to play ping pong. So for a while, I was the only woman with the men, and pretty soon a couple more women came in. Now I like to shoot pool. I've been teaching myself to shoot pool because one day I'll be too old to play ping pong, so then I'm going to shoot pool. There's always something here to do at Becketwood. You can always find something to do.
So I've been an election judge for a long time and a chair judge at the precinct here. And there are two things about Becketwoodians from that work. And number one is that they all vote. They all come in, they have several bus loads, walk over, and it's really important to people here to vote. And the other thing is that whenever I asked someone, how do you like it there? Every single person said, I love it.
It took me a lot longer to be convinced than it did Linda.
Well, I think what happened to me is that I got to know the people faster. And then I stopped seeing age and started seeing people.
When it happened, we both decided it was the right time, and now I'm really glad we made that move. It's really improved our quality of life. We have more time to do the things we really like to do.
For the things we really have to do.
Reducing the amount of work we have to do to a very bare minimum gives us more free time to pursue whatever interests we might be doing at that time. And we also walk, not daily, but several times a week. And there you can go in almost any direction from Becketwood and find a beautiful path to walk on. And a favorite of ours is a loop that goes over to Minnehaha Park and through past the falls, over above the top of the falls and through the south part of the park. And then it crosses a bridge that goes over the creek to the veterans' home and then out of their property. And so it's a lovely little loop that we can make. It takes about an hour, and it's right in our neighborhood, right at our doorstep.
You know, besides the practicality of it, which is that you don't have to worry about a house, but it's more than that. It's like having a thread back here. Not that I don't have, friends and my work and so forth, but something about home and community where I live that seems to really resonate with me as I go on my adventures. Best of both worlds, I guess.
We moved in on December the 8th, and we had that big snowstorm that weekend. And so we moved in on a Wednesday, and either Thursday or Friday on the elevator it said there would be a choir rehearsal, and it said everyone welcome. And so then on Saturday I said to Marvin, it says everyone welcome. So I said, I'm going to go, do you want to come too? And so then we've been singing in the choir. Then the other is I have had some small amount of training in terms of painting. We were here a couple of weeks and I received a note in my box inviting me. Sometimes there are two of us, sometimes four, and we meet in the craft room, which is a nice light room, and we bring whatever we're working on, either to do the work then or if people have been working outside the group to bring it and to share it.
I have an interest in the whole business of sustainable living, and so I think this is a model that very much fits into that. And I like the idea that we're getting the building ready for people who will come here if they can plug in an electric car. We've walked the garage so we know where we can least expensively get the electrical power to a charging station, and it'll be somewhere between 2 and 4 charging stations, so that's underway.
Other years we've had an Easter egg hunt outside and all this wonderful property, and it was fun. We hid eggs all over the trees and the flowers, and this year it was raining. So this year we had to do it indoors. So we found the lovely front room there and found lots of places to hide eggs, and it was just as much fun. They used to call this Grandma's Castle, only the way they said it was Grandma's Tassel. And they loved coming to Grandma's Tassel. So we had a lot of fun here. We just, with simple things.
When we moved to Becketwood, which has now been 9 years ago, we did have a great many friends in the community, and we still have friendships with them and with other persons from church and elsewhere. But as the years have gone by, we've discovered that we find more and more friends right here at Becketwood because we have a lot in common. It is a comfortable, easy place to get together, and we share common interests with a lot of people who live here.
We all know that the more intellectual stimulation you have, the more crossword puzzles you do, the more books you read, the more agile your brain will remain. And this is a great place for that because of the library, because of the programs, because of the conversation that goes on around the dinner tables in the dining room, because of the ideas that are brought forward to board members. As much as I love living on Nicollet Island because it was a spectacular place to live, there has not been a day at Becketwood in the 5 years I've been here when I have gotten up in the morning and wished I was somewhere else. And every morning when I get up, I know there are things for me to do and things for me to think about here.
Just as I am invisible to my fellow residents on Tuesdays and Thursdays when I drive truck for Habitat for Humanity, a lot of my fellow residents were invisible to me as I was around. And so I have discovered how many of us are doing other volunteer work of a very substantial nature, and others are still active in their careers. So it took me a while to appreciate the talents, the considerable levels of activity and community involvement of my fellow residents here at Becketwood.
We said, oh, let's do this here at Becketwood. And so we decided to teach Tai Chi Cha 2 classes here, and we've been doing it now for 8 years. We get absolutely fabulous, stimulating programs here. It's just one neat program after another. And we have people here who have talent themselves for playing the piano. We just have so much in the way of gifted people here. And of course the gardens that we have, the flowers, the vegetables that people put into their gardens. It's just like the Arboretum.
I think if you talk about broader things, the thing that really pleases me is that you can be absolutely as private as you want to be and actually just as involved as you want to be. And it's just a perfect blend because you walk out in the hall and it's not like being just in any old apartment building. Everybody you meet is going to say, oh, hi, how I haven't seen you for a while, where have you been? And that kind of sense of neighborhood I find very special. On the other hand, I'm the kind of person that really likes my own private time as well. And I like that people just don't come knocking on your door. I mean, people call.
But we knew about a lot of pictures in people's homes and so forth that wouldn't it be fun to show some of those? So we mounted an art show. Well, that went over so well that we kept going, and as of now, I think we're on our 27th art show, and we put up one a month. We're coming up now. Yeah. There's an amazing amount of good art in this building. And people have been collectors, some have been artists, some have children who have done good art and they're willing to share. And so far, everything we've hung in the West Dining Room, which is now called the Wellington Gallery, everything has been connected to people who live here. So it's people take a great deal of interest in what others have. And we have an opening once a month in conjunction with the cookie cart day on Friday afternoon. So everybody comes down for coffee and cookies.
No budget, it was nice to take advantage of the cookie cart day.
Independent living means to me choice. You have choices whether you want to be part of the Becketwood community or whether you want to live here as an independent person who has interests both in and out. For the first couple of years that I lived at Becketwood, I was working full time. I'd get here at 6 o'clock at night and leave at 6 o'clock in the morning. So didn't use the recreational facilities that we have here. But I did use the outside amenities because I like being outside. Places where I could go, where I could walk and think and enjoy a quiet neighborhood. Becketwood is in an incredibly wonderful location simply because the neighborhood is quiet and safe and secure, and it's beautiful. We're in a major piece of the Minneapolis park system, and we're very close to Minnehaha Park, and it doesn't take very much time and effort to figure out where the recreational spaces are in this corner of South Minneapolis. I was over at her house admiring her floors, and I saw all this wood out by her back door, and I said, "Where is that all going?" And she says, "Well, we're going to get rid of it." And I said, "I know a wood shop that would love to have wood." So I brought a whole box full of maple down to the wood shop, and those guys were so happy. I mean, they were so excited about seeing all this maple because a lot of the guys like to carve bowls, these wooden bowls.
Walked through that door 10 years ago. Wife begged him to come down here. Go down, why don't you go down? Oh, I don't want to go down. Go on down there. And I saw him walk in the door there, and he stopped, and he looked around, and he looked just like a kid got in a can. He has never done any wood turning, and he has done some of the most beautiful stuff. Most important part of this workshop is that opportunity for the men to get together and talk. Because most of these fellas have had a busy life, making a living, raising a family, and they haven't had time for social contacts.
Shop is important to me because it gives me a chance to do woodworking, to be with men, and we discuss items all the way from trivial to serious, to very serious, and I enjoy their company. The amount of woodwork I do down here is relatively minor compared to some of the other people like Altie and Ernie. But it's fun to be down here with them. I like the companionship.
We've grown to love each other, I mean, in a nice way, you know, we just are good friends.
If we were just looking for a place to live, we could have moved into a condo, but the sense of community really appealed to us, the fact that we could connect with other people that had like interests, that there were all the activities here. And once we moved here, we found all of that, and it was just terrific. So it's been just a great move for us.
There's all kinds of things going on here all the time.
Yeah.
Movies, concerts, trips to plays, going on, all kinds of things.
Yeah, we find that we're doing more cultural activities now that we're here because it's so easy to do it, particularly in the winter. The idea that we can get into the van and it'll take us down to the theater, down to the opera, and we don't have to get in a cold car and drive. It's absolutely wonderful. Plus, we've got all of our friends that we can talk about the event on the way and coming back. So that's an added plus for us.
We've been playing Monday night poker for a long time, and it's definitely not a serious game. They used to have serious poker players up in the Windsor room. They stay away from us. We make up all sorts of games.
Andy poker with lots of wild cards. Really, every game is different. Depends on what game we're playing. See.
and we just have fun and laugh and interact with people coming through. It's a fun time, something we look forward to.
The family came over. Then we came upstairs to eat in my house, since we have all these small children that would fit there well. We were 6 kids and 5 adults, had a sandwich buffet. And after that had worn its welcome out, then we went outside to play. The big kids went outside. And finally it was just my 2 daughters and the baby sitting around talking, but it was a lovely family day.
So the gardening plan for the entire 12-acre campus fits in with the initiative set forth by the Strategic Imperatives Committee, which is to maximize diversity. We realize this is a cooperative, so we have a lot of different people with a lot of different ideas about what should be in the landscape, what they want to see. So as far as practicable, we would like to basically put out something for everyone. So we have a very formal layout here. We have other areas that are much more naturalized and will rely most heavily on native plants. And then we have areas which are going to incorporate the lawns and the canopy trees. We are also looking to reduce our reliability on artificial irrigation as well as on fertilizers and pesticides, because we're planning for the plants in their appropriate growing environments to be very robust and healthy and to be able to perform as we want them to perform without a lot of additional help in the way of applied fertilizers or pesticides. And we also hope to, in this way, to also attract a lot of birds, because we're going to plant a lot of plants that will attract insects, which will in turn attract the birds that feed on the insect.
8 organized exercise groups that meet during 1 week. So all in all, there's a lot of different things for a lot of different people, for whatever you happen to like. I mean, what kind of exercise you happen to like, or what your body will let you do. And then there's always the exercise room, which is available 24 hours a day, anytime. And I find it easier to, later in the evening, nobody's here then.
I had a young woman live here actually for 6.5 weeks in the fall when I was in Ireland. I told her right at the beginning, the people here are considerably older than you know, parents, grandparents age, you know. Oh, she said, that's fine. I really like older people and all that. So when I got back, we were debriefing, and I asked her, I said, well, how was it for you to be living in this situation? The thing that really struck me about what she said was she liked being close to the river, she biked, you know, she had all the conveniences, you know, it's quite a lovely place. But the thing that struck me was that she said, people seem so happy, it's just a happy place to be. And I thought that was really telling of the place, that this 23-year-old felt that here. I thought that was wonderful.